Hello and welcome back to Pandemic Playground with Dave. Here with a new series, building a space elevator, because I haven't tried one yet, and I might as well do it and show you guys how I'm going to make one. So let's get started. Alright, so before we begin talk about this splendid roofless building and our incredible space elevator, let's go to the settings really quick. Alright, so the space elevator setting is very simple. It's actually just a star system, start, survival, mode, and I have max 2 players and online with friends because I need it for the time lapse. And of course, we did a little bit of mod, not much at all. As you see here, build vision 3.0, camera panning for the fun of it. Easy inventory, yes, I know, I don't need this, but I always put it on. HUD, modern, fancy, color, and HUD compass. That's it. We're not going to go with the nanobot build and repair this time around, so we're going to have a time lapse of me actually welding stuff up with myself, a ship, rover, whatever the case is. So that's the settings for the mods. For advanced, one big thing I did, and it's just for my own sanity for building these things, or building a big project, increase the character inventory size. That's it. I'm not going to play around with the block inventory size or anything like that. Just the character inventory size here. Other than that, we left everything pretty much default. We changed this optimal spawn distance. We enable spectator, enable in-game scripts. I turn off the weather. I don't really like the weather too much, especially for time lapses, because then it makes it hard to see. And pretty much it. So if you want to see the settings slowly, you can always pause it right there if you needed to. But yeah, took off progression, didn't want to deal with it as well, and don't have spiders, wolves, or anything enabled as well in that case. So pretty much almost default with small little changes in the settings. So that is the reason for the slow start in episode 1. Alright, so let's talk about the space elevator series itself. So initially, we worked on building a bit of a home so we could live in it and store some more resources, or resources to begin with, because we didn't have any. We did a little bit of a hole eventually with the drop pod, which was started here, so we can get some stone and things like that. And that's how we were getting our initial resources. That's why we had a drill system here. I took it out eventually because we didn't need it anymore. But that's how I got our start with our stone. It was a simple drill system. Single drill on a rotor with a hinge, so you could gather as much as possible with limited resources used in terms of the drill system. Not the most efficient drill system, but it kind of worked out. And then from there, we built this little home. It has no roof because I didn't know what to design the roof with. But I just left it as is. Plus, we didn't have a lot of materials either. So we just kind of left it like this. So simple base, O2 system, cargo, containers, survival kit. Took it off the drop pod, the battery right here, and doors, windows, and things like that. So nothing too crazy in terms of the house. So the funny part was, when I looked over here to gather my initial resources, you see that there's iron point over there. So initially I dug as deep as I can down here, and it actually eventually leads towards the very bottom, and it goes to the iron that way. And there's a bit of cobalt here as well, but it's really deep. But the iron deposit, if we follow the tunnel, eventually it leads to, well, multiple deposits it looks like, but it leads to our drill system that we have here. And that's still gathering a little bit of iron as well, not too much, but we have this thing slowly rotating and angling the hinge just a little bit so we can get the iron in this case. So we can get the iron that's on this horizontal plane in a circle basically. So that's the same drill system we did on the base, which is the rotor, hinge, and drill system. And again, it's just to angle it so we can do it this way to collect the iron a little bit better. So if I needed to change this up a little bit, let's just say angle this a little bit more. Oh, wrong way. We're gonna do, yeah, I think that should be good. And now we're gonna gather a little bit more materials this way. Hopefully it doesn't clang up and hit the wall, because we did break this a couple of times too, as you may have seen in time lapse. But this way we will gather a decent amount of iron and stone so that we have enough resources for the steel plates and everything like that we're gonna need. So we're gonna have to produce a lot more. I don't know why that stopped producing. I guess we filled enough of it, but I think we have a decent amount of iron now. Iron, 20k, 108k. Yeah, we have 108k iron. Not a lot, but it's a decent start, and it's based out of probably roughly around 6 hours of gameplay so far with the time lapse, and that's building the house, getting resources, and then building the large cargo container, refinery assembler with this crazy long drill system. Again, very simple drill system, and that's netting us as much iron as possible. One of the biggest things I failed at doing was I should have connected or built a kind of a steel plate way towards this drill system. I wasn't thinking of doing it. I was thinking of transporting the resources by hand or by a rover or a ship or something like that. But I thought against that, and so I just piped up the whole thing. So if I took the pipe from here all the way over here and realized it's not lined up with the base, so we had to build a bit of a rotor with some piping and connectors to kind of rotate it to another connector so we can connect the power from one base to the other, and also the storage from one base to the other using this little piston too, so we can move it back and forth, and just angled it, and it works out pretty well. It's not the best looking thing in the world, but hey, we got it all linked up, so that works out. So that's where we're getting our resources. We do need to get some cobalt for metal grids. We do have, I did find a deposit silver right over there, which is great. So we can actually upgrade our welders and everything very soon, and we should probably do that. I think we can go to the proficient. Yep, proficient one if we go and drill for some silver over there. I did not really look for a lot of different resources yet, because my main concern was steel plates or iron for the most part for the space elevator. So we're gonna see how that works out until we need to get more. We need more stuff like nickel, silicon, and maybe even magnesium and all that stuff. We could probably still continue to drill the stone, but I know there's a decent amount of materials around the area, just not too much. I've seen a few, like right there, that's the white dots over there, so that's some resources. I think there's a few over here, right there, more resources. So I haven't really checked them all out to see exactly what they are. Here's another one. These are probably more common stuff I've seen with silicon, nickel, magnesium. So this is our magnesium deposit. So that's what this is here, which is great for weapons, but we don't need weapons right this moment anyways. So yeah. So yeah, there's definitely resources around. We just gotta look for them and see what they are. I do plan on building a truck to get some resources better, so we can move around and then collect what we need to collect. Oh, this is where I've been getting cobalt. This little deposit over here. But yeah, the truck is gonna help us collect resources by traveling around with it and having a drill system on there, so we can have like almost like a mobile drilling station. That's the goal, and then we'll bring it back to the workshop here or the base. But now, if we want to talk about the space elevator. So the space elevator is ginormous, yes. There's a reason for that, and mainly it's because I wanted to build a big enough platform where at first I was thinking putting on a rover and put it into space. But what is the point in that? But the idea is really to make it big enough so that we can put a ship if we need to and bring it up into space. So we can do something. It's really no point, but I wanted to at least have a big enough area to do something like that. And I think initially the idea was to make the front platform right over here to carry a ship or something similar to that, but I think it would probably be better over here. So you have 2 pillar support versus the 1 back there. I don't know yet. We'll see how it goes. But more importantly, we are going to make a little small stationary piece for my person to sit here with some oxygen and go straight up. Now, how we're going to do all this is a little bit different from what I've seen before in other builds. I want to try something different. So the plan for the space elevator is using the rotor wheel method that I've done before as well, but with a bit of a difference, and that is using these hinge systems to kind of hug against the wall instead of really building onto the walls like I usually do. So when you build it onto the walls, yes, you need 4 points of contact. So you have 1 point of contact on the left hand side, 1 on the right hand side, like so, and then you have 1 on the front and back. So we have all these 4 points of contact. Now, how well is this going to work? Not too sure. I did a quick experiment and it seemed to work okay, but I did try it with thrusters mainly. So the plan is to add thrusters also, and it's going to be probably hydrogen thrusters because we're not going to have atmospheric thrust once we reach the top. Maybe we do a combination, I don't know, but we're going to end up putting some thrusters here along with the rotors and everything like that, so we can get this thing up all the way to space fairly quickly, because these rotor wheels are not quick at all. It'll take forever. I mean, we could use a wheel system using a suspension wheel to bring it up as another way of doing it, but I think last time I tried that, it warps through the walls here for some reason, and it probably is fixed. I haven't tried that yet, but I think the idea I really want to try is put the thrusters here or anywhere, maybe right in the middle. We could put a big thruster, right? So we can do, where's that big thruster? I'm just going to use the atmospheric thruster as an example. So we can just throw it right here, right in the middle as a huge piece. And then we can just be able to give the momentum fly all the way up 100 meters per second to the very top of the space elevator. And what we're going to do at the very top is a orbital station. So that is going to be kind of like part 2 of the time lapse. Space elevator first, and then we're going to do a orbital space station on top. So it's not going to be necessarily in space, but it's going to be slightly within the orbit of Earth in that sense. But like I said, I'm not even sure if this is going to work out really well or not, but we're going to try it. I'm going to put some thrusters on it eventually. We just need the resources for it. We're going to have to find a way to weld up this quicker and faster than what it's currently doing, which is by hand. So we are going to have to build out these pillars separately. I'm probably going to throw a few pillars on the side out here and build it out, weld it up, so we can project 3 projectors for these pillars to go up. How are we going to weld it all? I found out the best way to weld something in this situation is to leave this little hole like a donut hole, right? So we put a bunch of welders right in between. I'm not sure if this is going to work. Actually, let me get rid of this. So we did a whole bunch of welders in between. For an example, if I put in a piston, let me just try it for now, see if it works. We put a piston here, and we put the welder here, like so, and weld it all up. I'm not sure if it's gonna allow me to go down and weld, but when I'm projecting it, the idea is to use the space elevator actually and have it go upwards with the welder on all 3 towers or pillars. But the problem with that is that we're going to make sure the space elevator piece has a consistent amount of steel plates to continue to weld upwards. And once it runs out, we're not going to have the towers continue to be built, and it's going to run off the tracks, and then it's going to break. So that's the biggest problem I have there, and I need to solve for that. Alright, so let's just say, for an example, I'm just going to do this to see if it works out okay. But like I said, when we're building it with the projection, what we're really going to do is not have it submerged in the donut hole, but more slightly above it as it is currently. So we're going to slowly move up this way and build it out. So hopefully that all works out, but if it works out this way, then even better. So I know that it can be pretty deep inside the donut hole without causing any issues. So if we were to reverse this thing, oh, it does go right. Oh, no, it doesn't go all the way in. I think we would have to increase the torque to really push it in. I guess we could just do a max. Yep, that works. And yeah, this is going to work out okay where it's going to weld up. So we can weld from top down easy this way. But like I said, once I weld this part up, we should be good to go. But the space elevator piece, so this right here is going to have a pillar piece going all the way up. Not too far up. I think we're going to keep it a bit of a distance. And have the welder come from right where it is now to go slowly upwards. So yeah, that means we have to load up a large cargo container, some piping, everything like that, and make sure everything is always filled, so we can always get that welded up in that sense. Is there a better way to do it? Absolutely. It's gonna be more complicated to kind of do it, but it's more of kind of playing around with the projections, maybe a connector connecting to another connector kind of situation, which is a lot of resources. So I think we should be okay doing it the way I'm thinking of doing it, which might be a slightly slower process, but the good thing is that, you know, it's gonna be for a good time lapse in that case. So that might be the best idea, but I don't know, maybe I need to look at some suggestions as well. So maybe we do it where we can have it kind of getting its resources from the base. So it's kind of like merging it. Yeah, I think it's there's definitely a way to do it. You could play with merge blocks, connect it to a pipe, and then build it upwards, disconnect it, and so forth, or play with connectors and grinders and everything like that. But I kind of want to keep it simple for now and see how it works out with the space elevator. I'm not going to unhook the space elevator just yet, because actually I need to add some batteries to this too. But it looks like we're close to finishing up all these steel plates here, or the blocks, light armor blocks, to weld it up. So I think I'm gonna continue to stick a piston in there with a welder for each pillar, get this all welded up, so at least it looks a little bit better in terms of being a solid block or rectangle instead of having it like a scaffolding look. So we're gonna continue to do that eventually, probably within a time lapse. But we need to add some batteries here as well. So I'm thinking of, well, this thing's probably going to need a lot of batteries. And we need to find some uranium. We can find some uranium, that'd be even better. So we can use a reactor instead. But if we do batteries, I think we could do a battery like pretty much on this platform if we need to. Or kind of on each one of these platforms to kind of bounce it out. In this case. So or maybe I just do the 3. Let me do 3 for now. If I don't like it, we're going to move it eventually. But I'm thinking of putting a battery here, a battery here, and lastly a battery right over here. Alright, so once we get this welded up, at least we have some power generated or saved using the turbine. So we got some energy to fill up the batteries with. And then we can find a way to charge these things up when we need to. And that's probably going to be using solar panels. Because we could use turbines. But we would have to... I think we have to tell the landing gears to lock in place in order for the turbines to work. So that's definitely an idea, and it could work that way. Solar panels is our best bet. We could do hydrogen power as another piece. Hydrogen power would make it work and last quite some time. But the only problem is that we're gonna have to stick some heavy hydrogen tanks. So that's where it gets a little tricky. But we'll see how that's gonna work. I think if we're gonna go with hydrogen engines anyways, or hydrogen thrusters anyways, we might as well use hydrogen engine to kind of keep it going. So likely a possibility. And it looks like we ran out of computers. No, we didn't. Why are we not picking up computers? Okay. But yeah, not gonna disconnect the space elevator now anyways, because I want to charge these batteries. So we can just continue to charge it with the turbines. Should we use hydrogen power eventually? I think so. We just gotta find a good spot to add in all the turbines. So what's gonna happen is basically the space elevator piece will actually be separated from the tower grid itself. So it's gonna have its own power. It's gonna have its own sensors, all those type of things. So that's something we gotta play around with. But we can't disconnect yet because we need to make sure we have everything on here before we do that. And yeah, we still need to collect resources. We still need to build this tower up a lot more. So lots more to go on this project. And I think we're gonna build other vehicles on the side, as we always do in the time-lapse series. So we always make like a truck, ships, welding ships, and things like that. And that's what we're gonna continue to do with these time-lapse videos. We're gonna build the main thing and have some side quests at the same time in some ways. And what's good about starting these type of series is that I actually find the time to actually collect some unknown signals. So that way we can get some cool new skins if we get lucky. So we're gonna come right over here and grab this one. Let's see what we get. And we get a kid's pajama helmet. Awesome. This one I don't think I actually have. And I'm glad I checked this one just now. But we can also grab the resources from the unknown signal as well, and whatever's in the cargo containers. It looks like we got a new drill, which we already have, so it's okay. Alright, so yeah, so that's the plan with the series. Building a space elevator. Why am I doing it now? I don't know. I just thought of it, and I was like, hey, I've never built a space elevator before. Let me give it a shot and see how it works, and share it with you guys as a time lapse. And hopefully that all comes out okay, and you guys are enjoying the series. So more to come. It's gonna be somewhat of a big project, so I'm gonna try to make as much of these as possible, and also try to come back to my other series as also, because of course we have so much going on. We do need to go back to Never Surrender ship evolution eventually. My cough has kind of subsided, so we are likely going to come back to that very soon. Building a mountain base is, it's a lot of work, still a lot of drilling, so that takes a bit of time to build out. But I feel like I just want to work on this space elevator and hopefully finish it in just a few episodes. So really what we're going to do is build upwards. I mean, not much more from that right this moment, other than designing the space elevator itself. But once we get up there, that's when I want to start the new part 2 of it, and that's the orbital station. So we'll see how that goes. This is kind of the original rover. I kind of crashed it off camera. That's why it looks terrible like this. I lost the battery, which I added, but still operational. Battery's nearly depleted, so this thing has become fairly useless in a way. But it's still my original rover, so I keep it around. But yeah, I really think we need to build some kind of welding ship. Maybe I'll bring back our multi-tool, our Swiss Army knife type of welding ship, so we can weld up as much as we can down here. And then we'll start building up the space elevator and projections and everything like that. Or maybe I just continue to make the ship in order to weld up everything in this form and fashion. But the biggest holdup, of course, is constantly going to be our resource production. So we pretty much produce, I think, 15k of steel plates, but that's quickly going to run out. So it's a weight game and everything like that. And look what I found, an engine plushie. I found that in one of the unknown signals as well. It's the super unknown signals or whatever it's called, rare ones. I don't know what it's called. But I actually like the way it's turning out in terms of the towers. So we'll see how it kind of turns out once everything is welded. But once again, hope you guys are enjoying the series. Lots more to come. Feel free to drop your suggestions down below. Of course, I take a lot of those into consideration. And hopefully it's something new. It's something different from everybody else. With that said, as always, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and of course, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.